Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this opportunity, I'll explain about my article. The title is Female Representation in Sport Throughout English Language Textbook Used in Indonesian Senior High School. We go to Chapter 1, Introduction. The background of the study is female representation is still become the important issues because there are still gaps between women and men in terms of opportunity and recognition in various sports. Along with the feminism movement and the struggle for women's rights, more and more female athletes are getting involved in sports and achieving success in their careers. However, despite the progress, women are still often faced with various problems in sport, such as gender stereotype attached to certain sports. In Indonesia, women have the right to participate and take part in various aspects of sports and many other things. Therefore, based on the explanation above, the researcher will investigate female representation in sport throughout English language textbook used in Indonesian senior high school. The statement of the problem, there are two statements of the problem here. The first is, how is the frequency of appearance of female athletes in high school English textbook? The second one is, what are the stereotypes of female athletes in high school English textbook? And then the objective of the studies, the first is to investigate the frequency of appearance of female athletes in high school English textbook. The second one is to describe the stereotype of female athletes in high school English textbook. And then significances of the study. There are three significances of the study. The first is theoretically. The process and result of this research can be useful for reference to other researchers who want to investigate the female representation used in Indonesian textbook. The second one is practically. The process and result of this research can be useful for the institution. This research can be useful as an input and effort to develop the quality of the textbook for teaching learning activities. And the last is pedagogically. The process and result of this research can be useful for the teacher to deepen and expand through new perspective about female representation in textbook. We move to chapter 2, review of related literature. The first one is previous study. The researcher found two previous study. The first is by Tabah Ali in 2016. The title is Gender Representation Under Critical Image Analysis. The case of Iranian ELT textbook. The second one is Arianto Sugeng in 2018, entitled A Portrait of Gender Bias in the Prescribed Indonesian ELT textbook for junior high school students. The two previous studies above have some differences. The design of the Ali research of study is an analysis ELT nationwide textbook, while Arianto Sugeng is an analysis of ELT junior high school textbook with the focus on visual and verbal text, and for the Ali only focus in the image of the textbook. The similarity of the previous study are both focus on textbook review for analysis of the gender representation in both male and female, and both of the previous research use descriptive qualitative method. And the distinction between this study and two previous study is the other two previous study use both gender representation analysis, while this research only use one of gender representation, namely female representation. This research also analyzed about ELT textbook, although for senior high school level. In this case, this research analyzed female representation through image in ELT textbook senior high school. Furthermore, descriptive qualitative method was also being used in this research. The theoretical framework here, the title Female Representation in Sport Throughout English Language Textbook used in Indonesian Senior High School, and using feminist discourse by Jan Sunderland, and descriptive qualitative also used to investigate the frequency of appearance and describe the stereotype of female athletes in high school English textbook. We move to chapter 3, research method. The first one is research design. This research using qualitative research and the data and data source, and the data is from verbal and visual text from the textbook, and the data source, there are two data sources here. The first is primary source by English language textbook entitled Bahasa Inggris Work in Progress by Budi Hermawan, Duhayanti, and Nining Suryaningsih. The secondary source is scientific article. And then the technique of analyzing the data, there are 4 steps here. The first one is data reduction, second one is data classification, and the third is data interpretation, and the last is data display. Okay, we move to chapter 4, finding and discussion. This is the table of finding of this research. There are 4 stereotypes here. The first is visibility, second one is role, the third is type of sport, and the last is category of sport. And for the discussion, the first is the frequency of appearance from the data that has been analyzed are the visibility of female representation were shown 18.7% of appearance in total of the textbook, while for the female representation shown only 12.5% appearances in total. While in role, for the male athlete role shown 84.3% of appearance compared to 15.7% of female athlete roles appearance, and for male spectator roles shown 100% of appearance compared to female spectator role who had 0% appearance. Then in type of sport, for male, the individual type of sport shown 16.75% appearance compared to 31.25% of appearance for team type of sport. While for the female, the individual type of sport shown 75% of appearance compared to 25% of appearance for team of sport. Furthermore, in category of sport, for male, the power category shown 12.5% compared to 87.5% of speed category, while for female, the power category shown 33% compared to 67% of speed category. For the stereotype, there were 3 stereotypes found in summarizing the female representation in sport throughout English language textbook used in Indonesian Senior High School, generated from analyzing text and image from 16 pages in total of the textbook that related about sport. The first stereotype, female is not attractive and not appealing in the sense of sport, while the second stereotype, female didn't give significant contribution around sport. Then for the stereotype, female is an emotional being. Chapter 5, Conclusion and Suggestion. Based on the result of the research that has been done, it can be concluded that females are still underrepresented and negatively described in the textbook. However, there is a new discovery that female also portrayed as something strengthful and independent. It is proven with female representation in this textbook in chapter 1 And page 6 and picture 1.4, both of the picture are shown female as a weightlifter athlete in them, which represent a lot about power and independence. It is also meant that category has been shifted from female as an aesthetic object in a long time ago and now become female that has speed and power in sport. In addition, this research can be awakening and be a new perspective for other while reading the textbook. It is also hoped that in the future there will be a positive change, especially in this aspect in a textbook with adding much more female representation. Thank you for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.